a darker bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what.
Maritime Matters is brought to you live by Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed and inspected?
Maritime also protects our seas and borders by way of our local Bahamas Defense Corps.
It is very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed.
Maritime Matters.
Pleasant good evening to you, our valued listening audience. Welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain. In studio with me tonight is my little nephew again. My little DJ is hanging out with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He happened to be an academically, an athletic, and a musically inclined 7th grader, shooting straight out of the big red machine, the great sack. DJ is hanging out. DJ, you know what the deal is. You got to say hello to the Bahamas and give a shout out to those you love. My brother, go right ahead.
Good night, everyone. I just want to give a shout out to my mommy and my daddy and my aunties and all my families, and Miss Barbara and Tiara and Tisha.
All right. Well, thank you very much, my brother. Well, you know you keep me on cue tonight. So when you see me getting off track, just let me know what's happening, all right? Yes. Now you can go do your little exam, your pre-exam, and me and you could be right there hanging out. Yes. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's DJ the man. And while we had the shout-outs, let me give a shout-out to my favorite daughter. Boy, I know she's trying to figure out what is this tonight. Hey, Misty! Boy, my Misty on a roll. She doing some big things up in San Antonio and all the rest of that good stuff. She got her to get back here to get on the show with me again one of these nights, eh? Of course, my favorite granddaughter, my Amberlina. Amberlina, gonna be thinking about you, baby. As you take that long ride up in there, I know you like to be moving. My Amberlina don't play. She like to be moving. 7 years old girl or 17. All right, so that's my shout out for the night, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, our sponsors for the night: 101 Pharmacy, and also Island Care Pharmacy, coming under the same umbrella for all your medication needs. Check out my little cousin Shanty McBride and her lovely team at 101 Pharmacy. In Nassau, they're at East Street South and Charles Sanders Highway. And of course, downtown Freeport, they call Island Care Pharmacy. And where it is in Freeport again, Explorers Way, just opposite that Plaza, West Scotia Bank is what they call Regent Center or Regent Center. That's it. That nice pretty gray and gray building or whatever color that is. So that's 101 Pharmacy in Nassau and of course Island Care Pharmacy in Freeport. They bring us to you on a weekly basis and we appreciate them. Secondly, we're sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. That's right. That's BMC. That's us. We provide maritime security services in all respects. We're the maritime people. And we are proud to announce our third sponsor, the GBI pilots and Bimini pilots. These are a contingent of independent marine pilots that are making themselves available throughout the Bahamas to provide marine pilotage to all ships outside of Nassau Port area and of course Deepwater Harbor and Freeport. That means all the family islands, all the private islands, all the yachts that are huge. So please feel free to call up GBI pilots or Bimini pilots for all your marine pilot needs. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we shall engage discussions on the large Abaco Shanty Town address by the Ministry of Works. Yes, the minister and his team went up there, and I can tell you big things are going. Notices were given out, and we got 28 days. 28 days to deal with getting out of that area before we start the demolishing exercise. And I can't wait for them 28 days to up, because spoiler kill. Ain't nothing like making the Bahamas get it right. Bahamians can't do it, so foreigners shouldn't be able to do it. And in any case, when the law is being blatantly broken like that, we can't be taking pity on the situation. We got to do what we got to do to keep things on even keel. We're also going to discuss the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Set out to be the best little navy in the region, but we know the challenges. We know that we have a lacking in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. You know, we don't have engineers the way we should. We don't do training all the way we should. We don't have enough infantry, Green Beret guys when we could, because we the Bahamas, man, we easy. And then we also going to briefly discuss, if we get to this topic, and I'm sure we will tonight, the 150 troops that are earmarked for peacekeeping in Haiti in this 2024. We're supposed to start by sending 50. I think that's a great idea. Haiti needs our assistance. Because they have chaos. When you have chaos, you have no organization. You have nobody who could get everybody to do what needs to be done, because everybody basically doing their own thing. So when our brothers and sisters are in trouble, our neighbors, we should be able to be more than happy to lend a hand to a contingent of authorized United Nations peacekeeping troops. We're only one small fraction of the entire puzzle that was put together to take care of our neighbors' big problem as we know it. The total disorganization, it's like total chaos in that country right now. And we are next door to them. We need to be a neighbor like neighbor should be, eh? We also want to talk about the Red Sea dilemma. Now, when we talk about the Red Sea dilemma, we know that the Red Sea feeds into the Suez Canal. And the Suez Canal is a very heavily trafficked shipping lane because it connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean. And of course, you got the Suez Canal pouring into the Red Sea, pouring into the Gulf of Aden, pouring into to the Indian Ocean, eh? So we got a combination of routes. But the very, very slim one that really was put there to connect the two seas, the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, is the Suez Canal. Now, you can't get to the Suez Canal or from the Suez Canal either way unless you pass through the Red Sea. But the Red Sea itself has some issues, eh? Because we got this group, they call them terrorist group, but this is a group of people that lives in the country that aligns the Red Sea to the northeast. And that country is Yemen. And we got a lot of history on Yemen, people. Because we got to remember that Yemen is the place where Bin Laden and his crew would have done their training. He lived there for many years. Of course, you know, he's from Saudi Arabia, but he was expelled from Saudi Arabia somehow. And he ended up making his home Yemen. And Yemen is the country that in the year 2000, as I recall it, the USS Cole was being taken into Yemen. I think they was going to fuel up. This is a big warship. And of course, the Taliban got a small group of, they got a rogue boat and packed the bow of that rogue boat with explosives. And they rammed straight into the USS Cole, putting a big, huge hole in the side of the hull. And, of course, they had to tow that vessel back to the U.S. And they actually used the metal from that vessel to create a brand new USS Cole. And that was in 2000, the year after 9/11. So that was one of the last incidents. It wasn't the last. There was a ship after that, of France, a tanker that was actually attacked in a very similar way, and just about all of the cargo, because of course they were saying at the time, we don't want the U.S. getting oil out of the Persian Gulf area. We this, we that, we the next, and they basically made an attack on that tanker, and that oil spilled all over the place and all the rest of that. And then, you know, after they introduced, after the world, the United Nations, by way of the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, introduced the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, which is my specialty area, so I know it very well. There was absolutely no attack on any large ship from terrorists. Well, of course, pirates got on some ships, but that has been minimized tremendously as well. And then now, we got the Red Sea dilemma. But even before the Red Sea dilemma, you know, we got war going on, I guess you can call it a war, between Ukraine and Russia. And as a result of that war, there were mines planted in the Black Sea. The Black Sea is that sea that once you get past Istanbul, Turkey, you know, they got that waterway that leads into the Black Sea. You have to go through Turkey to get to the Black Sea, in or out of the Black Sea. And I guess that's why they call it the Black Sea, because it's so landlocked. You got to pass through the Boris. This is the Boris Channel passage, where they have the big Boris Bridge, or Bosphorus, whatever the name is. I was there this last year actually, and I saw this Bosphorus passage, and we went in a small boat, and we went right up to the passage. I mean, it was almost in the Black Sea, and then they turned around and said, we ain't going that way, because the Black Sea is lined with mines that cannot. If a boat goes over the mine, it causes the mine to explode, and the hull of the boat become compromised, and it could get whole, it could sink, all kind of things could happen. So there were mines planted by the Russians, and there are also mines planted by the Ukrainians. And so no vessel was impacted, because when they wanted to get the grain from Russia, from Ukraine to Turkey, it was agreed, it was brokered by Turkey actually, that Ukraine and Russia, they actually agreed that they will move their mines out of a particular passage and make it a safe passage for commercial ships, so that they could go in and get the grain and come out. But that has expired. Russia's saying that, okay, we agree no more, that the time and gone, and we're not going to renew the agreement. So right now, it's trouble again. And that's the Red Sea dilemma. Sorry, the Black Sea dilemma. And then now we have the Red Sea dilemma. And I'm running on because this is what we're dealing with today, people. This is what's going on in the world today. The Red Sea dilemma is actually the Houthis. Who are the Houthis? Houthis. Houthis. Right? This is a group. They say terrorist group. It could be a terrorist group. It could just be. These are all Muslims, eh? These are the people that have links. You know, the big war going on with the Israelis and the Philippines, the Palestinians. Well, okay. The Palestinians have Hamas that started this whole conflict, eh? Because the people belonging to Hamas went into Israel, and they bombed the place, and they kidnapped a lot of people. And, of course, Israel retaliated. And Israel retaliated in a huge, massive way, where they just mash up the place. They bomb the place to powder. They kill up a lot of civilians, along with, you remember the hospital? They said the Hamas had weapons and stuff underneath the hospital, so they just take away the hospital, until they got to what they want. So Israel is really raining blows, bombs, whatever else on the Gaza Strip where Hamas is. And then Hezbollah got involved. Now Hezbollah is the government of Lebanon. So they're the government in place right now. The government actually emerged from that group. So you have the three H's. You get the Hamas, you get Hezbollah, and now you get the Houthis. And the Houthis are not up in the Gaza Strip. The Houthis are actually in Yemen, which aligns the Red Sea. And because they had a situation where Israel was getting all of their supplies, and they continued raining bombs and blows on the Gaza Strip, many people living in the Gaza Strip wasn't able to get any supplies because Israel wasn't allowing no vessel, no people, nobody to get near them because they just keep bombing them and all the rest of that. So other countries in that region, they have issues with that. And other countries in the world have issues with that. This is a big thing going on where countries are saying Israel did what they had to do, they should stop, right? Because they're killing up a lot of children and civilians and all the rest of that. But, when you have these insurgents and these groups, they're from those communities, some of those people. So they assist them and well, of course, this war was going on for years. They say it'll be going on for another century or so because there's just a fight over the strip of land called the Gaza Strip. And that Israel is now saying they're not going to stop bombing them until they are sure that nobody is in the Gaza Strip that will attack them anymore. Come on. Half of the people are gone, half are still there. But you can't just go and take over. Well, okay, you could go over and take over a country for a time, but you can't sit there forever and expect that somebody wouldn't try and get you. So anyway, I'm running on a little long with this one, right? Because I am only saying all this to tell you that those people, the Houthis, are attacking ships. And they're attacking ships that has to come through this channel. Reason? They're saying that if the people in the Gaza Strip can't get no supplies and much needed aids like food and medication and all the rest of that, then the people in Israel ain't getting none either from boats passing from merchant ships passing that way. And so they just started to bomb ships. And the U.S. Navy and the British Navy and Armed Forces, Air Force, Navy, all the rest of that, Marines, all the rest of that stuff, decided that we're not having this. So they started to bomb sites that are based ashore in Yemen to say that we think these where the Houthis are, this is where they're launching attacks from. And they're bombing, but they're bombing a lot of civilians along with. They may be getting some Houthis, I don't know, but apparently it's not very effective because the Houthis are still able to be launching attacks on ships. And ships are being affected and impacted. So many cruise ships have decided, just about every cruise ship has decided, we are no longer going through the Suez Canal to get from the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean or vice versa. Many container ships, Maersk and MSC and all them, they no longer go. So most, a large percentage, the larger percentage of ships that were using the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, and the Gulf of Aden are no longer using it because of those attacks by the Houthis. And again, those attacks are affiliated with the war going on in Gaza, where Israel is basically taking over the place and still putting bombs down on the Palestinians. Eh? So that's the crux of what's going on. And you have a second blockage. The second blockage, well, not a blockage, but a second slowdown in very heavily trafficked shipping lanes to get people from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean without having to go around Cape Horn at the bottom of Argentina and them, eh? Because it's such a long voyage. So they take a shortcut and they go through Panama. And that is known as the Panama Canal. It kind of cuts North and South America in half. Because the canal is a waterway where ships can pass all the way through. Well, of course, they have man-made locks so that they can fill the locks, the ship will rise, and then they move to the next. So they log them off, then they go through a lake. And on the next side of the lake, I think it's some more locks for them to get into the Pacific Ocean side. And so they log them up to the lake. But what they have been experiencing of late is a lot of drought. So the level, the height of the water in the lake is not high enough for ships to just maneuver. Some got to wait for extreme high tide, and they can only move for about 2 or 3 hours before the tide peaks and come back down to where the draft is. So ships are moving much slower because because of the problem, eh? And so we have the two major thoroughfares in the entire world. These are the two most critical passages for ships worldwide. Right? That's the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal. And both of them are having extreme slowdown. One because of the war and going on between the Israelis and the Palestinians. The other one because of drought. And so maritime or ships in the world now are being slowed down tremendously. We'll talk a bit more, I guess, about the Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas and all the rest of that as the show goes on. We'll see who call in and who wants to talk about it a little more. We don't know. We got our phone lines about to be open. 325, is it? 326. 326 8255. That's it. 326-8255. Yeah, my producer said I get it right this time, right? I supposed to know it by heart, but when you ain't so young no more, you don't remember things the way you remember when you're young, eh? I ain't talking to myself like that. But anyway, that's the Red Sea dilemma. We also want to talk a little bit about the alternative fuel vessels. How vessels, including cruise ships, are now resorting to alternative energy. They've been energized by methanol, LNG, ammonia, hydrogen. They're trying to get away from that fossil fuel. Mind you, there's still fossil fuel in the methanol and LNG. But the ammonia, the hydrogen, and then we could talk probably a little bit if we get to it about how they now seeking to use nuclear in commercial ships. You know, nuclear is used in aircraft carriers. Nuclear is used for some energy plants worldwide. So they're really looking into, because nuclear again does not emit any CO2, no carbon. So they look at all these, because by 2040 we know what got to happen. You wouldn't be allowed to emit any carbon. So you wouldn't be allowed to burn coal or fossil fuel or anything that lets off carbon. And we could talk a lot about what is going to replace all that energy. And that's going to be wind farms, solar energy, and again we talk about the nuclear thing, the hydrogen thing, and all that is going to be coming on stream over the next 5 years in big numbers. We already know about all the electric cars and all the rest of that. And we could talk a little bit about Tata Steel. Tata Steel, just over 2,800 jobs, we mentioned it last week, lost in the UK, because Tata Steel is the company that actually, you know, they have the ship bringing in the iron ore, and they burn, and they have furnaces that burn and melt them, and then they have molds where they actually make steel for buildings, steel for ships, steel for all kind of things. And the furnace that burns to melt the steel uses fossil fuel. So they said now we wouldn't be able to do that after 2040. So we're making provision now to replace them with electric furnaces. And so these are some of the things that are going on. And my Annie Mae's tell me, good night, Annie Mae. Annie Mae always tell me, boy, look here. You be getting a little technical. I be listening, but I pick up on some things. Annie Mae, we ain't talking much about Tata Steel tonight or about this fossil fuel being burned. I know you know about coal. Boy, because you know you from South Andres. I'm coal and thing we know, but lighting the, what I was? The oven in the back of the yard, the rock oven. I know you know about them kind of things, anyway. Anyway, so those will be our topics, ladies and gentlemen. The Shanty Downs, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Red Sea Dilemma, alternative fuel vessels, wind farms and solar, and Tata Steel. We will be rocking and rolling. Is that a blinking line? I'm producer. That was always blinking. I think we got a line. This line was always blinking. Okay, so we have lines available, yeah? Very good. Again, the number to call is 326-8255. Feel free to call us at any time. So those are the basic topics that we seek to engage tonight. Be advised that we are locked and loaded with information. So please stay tuned as we unload this litany of details surrounding these timely topics. We're talking maritime, people. On this show, we talk maritime. When we return, we will engage those topics that we just mentioned. So you don't want to touch that dial. Again, feel free to call in. We're looking for an active show, but boy, we got plenty of information at this show. So thank you very much as we move to our first break.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for holding with us. This is Captain Glenn Bain. We are doing Maritime Matters again tonight. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lady. My number one fan, Annie Mae. Listen, every week after the show, I record it, I send it to Annie Mae, but she just come back and she just break the show down for me. And she's been remembering what was said on the show. And I want you to know Annie Mae is 90 years old. She's north of 90. She'll be 91 this year. And I just want to say, I don't know how a 90-year-old could break down a show and remember what's going on the way she don't write down nothing. This from memory. So just remember now, she's not 90 years old and going strong. But listen to the clarity in the breakdown of the last show we had. And this is what she does every single show. Here is my loving Auntie May.
Hey, good afternoon, Clan Bean. Good afternoon, boy. How are you doing today on this beautiful Wednesday evening? Well, grandchild, I was listening last night. Well, it's something like a religion about the Shanty town to do, because it ain't look like they won't do nothing about that. They say the minister of housing, I think he must be saying Abaco, and they must be supposed to have meeting or something, but I hope something positive come out of the meeting. But I guess I'll hear about that next. Okay. And you mentioned the defense force. Yes, we wanted to be the best little navy in the country, I guess, and the Bahamas, on the world. But then you mentioned about the new boat. Yes, we get a new boat. In 20 years, there's no reason why you have engine problem, because they don't must have anybody to really upkeep these things. Okay, talk about that. And but that's it about you and a couple of guys so calling and things like that. Well, I only listen to you. Some things I understand and next thing again. You know what I mean? But it really was a good discussion. Very, very good. One guy saying what he trying to find out, he mixing up something. You had to call. Well, I forget who the guy is. I think it's a lawyer to explain what is what. But he must understand that. And then the lady who called, what she talk about? She talk about people changing their name. And that's something again. If you are John Brown and you want to change your name from John Brown to John Forbes, it got to be a reason why. So, I mean, what like me, or many people think you do something wrong with the first name, so this is why you want to change it. So, in all, it was a very, very good discussion. Okay? Even though some part I know, which I understand quite well. But, you know what I mean, everything was being clarified. You know, especially when you called her. Who is this again? I know I'm a booth, yes, but then I think he's a lawyer. And he explained to this guy who ain't look like he was understanding. So, and the lady, when she didn't talk, she say hello, Auntie May. That's something, eh? Oh boy, look at you must forget me last night. But anyhow, all of that in the game. And the little guy, whoever he was, DJ or CJ or whatever, he was brave boy. He tell everybody hello. And like I say, Glenn, it really was a very, very, very good discussion. So, how you doing on this bright Wednesday afternoon? It's nice and cool, and it ain't cold. You know, when I say ain't cold. Ain't cold because I've been outside today. Sit down for a while, get some fresh air. And then I come back inside, get something to eat. And I right here. Then I get so much children, I got must see over 2 dozen children the same morning, 2 in the morning time. When I open my phone, all I can see the little blue thing. Anyhow, answer them all, you know. So I hope you're doing okay. Well, that piece finished. I don't know what else I can roll on. You know, but I know how you go. You don't stop rolling right from one to the next. So whatever, baby, you take care. And I want you to know I really enjoy that show. Now I really enjoy it. I mightn't remember everything I would like to remember, but it was good. It really was a good discussion. And as you say, definitely, you look, the government got to do it, and then you really need to protest. But sometimes, you call people to protest, 2, 3 people come and things like that, and that don't work like that. You got to get together with a big number, half the Nassau. Like one guy said down in Gladstone Road, how much, Lord have mercy, I don't know. You look like fast they broke down some to build someplace else. I think they must be afraid of these Asians. That's what I think, because what they're doing. Anyhow, gunshot, I know you can be on. I'm telling you to do something. If they have any guts in you all, any at all. Some people get any balls. Anyhow, good, baby. You keep on rolling. Though they tarry, they have to do it anyhow. So you take care and you keep on them by, and I can keep listening. Okay? Have a blessed evening. Love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is my girl. Now you all hear her for yourself. So when I telling you all Anime is special, I don't want you all to think I just saying that because she's not a 90. See, Anime come from deep South Andres, Long Bay Keys Andres. And she went to school there as a child, and when she became an adult, she was one of the few on that island that became a monitor. What is a monitor? A monitor in those days is what we call today a teacher. Because, they didn't have no high school. So when you finish grade 9 or whatever grade you was in, the only government job you could get, they had to catch crab and plaque and chop fish, the fellas go shooting bird, and that's another thing. Everybody had gun on the island, eh? But ain't nobody used to shoot nobody. They say gun don't kill people. It's people with gun that kill people. Anyway, Annie Mae was a monitor, and you could hear it in the way she speak. That she's so well poised and all the rest of that good stuff. But I just wanted to share some of Annie Mae with you guys, because you all keep hearing me say, hello, Annie Mae, good night, Annie Mae. Well, that's my Annie Mae. And, now we hear her and everybody on the same page. Producer, is that a call on the line or that just... Oh, we have a caller. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the line. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Good night to you. Hello.
Hey, what's up, McCap?
Oh, top shape and getting better. My apology for having you hold on so long. I knew I saw the line blinking, but I didn't know if that was when he put Annie Mae on.
Listen, I have to listen to Annie Mae. Annie Mae needs to be inside on the maritime border, inside the
studio.
Transport to see what's going on.
Yeah, man, Annie Mae, you see my brother. So how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. But listen, I got a couple questions I would like to ask.
Sure, man.
Number one, what is the ministry doing to reclaim our sport or to prevent us from further dropping as the number one ship registry in the world? Because one time we had the title, and then now we lost it to Panama and we lost it to Greece. So we're now number 3 in terms of the ship registry.
Well,
what is the ministry doing now to bring us back up to number 1 so that we can reclaim that title?
Well, that's a very good question, and I want to respond to that in a couple of different ways, right? First of all, you still on the line, right? Or you?
Yeah, I still
okay. First of all, we were never number 1, right? The highest we got, I think, was number 4. It could have been number 3, but we never went to number 1 because Panama was always number 1 from the. We just got in the game in the 70s, right? So Panama was always number 1 since we was in the game, and number 2 was always Liberia, and that still remained today. We fluctuated between 4 and 3 for many years because when we got in the game, we were a country that attracted many. Now we're number 1 in cruise ships. We've been number 1 in cruise ships for a while. We still maintain number 1 with all the cruise ships, but when you look at overall tonnage, I think we down to number 7 or 8 now. And I can tell you one of the reasons why that happened. It's a couple of reasons. One of them is we got some very aggressive ship registry came on stream, right? Like the, not the Channel Islands, but those islands, the Marshall Islands. Marshall Islands came, and the amount of people they have working in their office is probably 3 to 1 when it comes to the Bahamas Maritime Authority. And they had some good regulations and tax-free and all the things we offer, they offer. But they paid far more attention to responding to their ships and that type of thing. So they were able to get a lot of tonnage from those cargo ships. But they still weren't able to steal away our cruise ships, right? Because we still maintain number one in cruise ships. Secondly, what the BMA or the Bahamas Maritime Authority, who's responsible for registering international ships, what they did about, must have been between 5 and 7 years ago, they cleaned up the register. You see, what happens is when you register ships, and right now we have like 1,600 plus ships on our register, and mainly, like I say, a lot of large ships, a lot of cargo ships, but we got number one with cruise ships. But when you clean up your register, in other words, every time one of the ships that is carrying your flag get detained because there's some deficiency, when that ship get detained, that's a mark against your flag. And we started to get a lot of detentions, and the cruise ships had a problem with that. They're like, hold on, because when you start to get a lot of detentions, they target all your ships, because as far as they're concerned, you're not running a good register. So they target all, they put you on the gray list, then they put you on the black list, and almost everywhere where your ship go in port, they gonna send their port state inspector to check your ship because they know you slack. So the BMA decided we can clean up our register, and we gonna make sure our cruise ships are quite happy and comfortable with us. And in cleaning up the register, they got rid of a lot of ships, and then they stopped taking on old ships. And
I know when they banned single hull ships, I know we might have lost a lot of ship registries during that time also.
No, but that was a worldwide move when double hull ships came around, particularly tankers. That was in the BMA. The BMA, that was the IMO regulation that gave them a phase-out time.
Right, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the U.S. banned them first before the rest of the world caught on.
The U.S. usually jump ahead of the game on things that affects, because you remember they got some sensitive, and the U.S. is the country that fined them more than everybody else. They will give them hefty fines if they find that they leaking oil in their waters, even just a sheen. So yeah, the U.S. was very much ahead of the game when it comes to banning those single hull tankers and old tankers too.
Yeah.
So the reason why the BMA dropped, now you can remember their standards came up, the detentions went down, and a bunch of old ships, they have more new ships than old ships on the register. So we have a cleaner register, a leaner register, and it ain't very often I give kudos to former Commodore Davy Roll, who was also the former director of the BMA. I don't give him too much kudos, but I have to give him kudos for cleaning up that register. And it wasn't just him, it was his team, but the fact that it was done on part of his watch, I have to give him credit because I think he did a good job with that.
Okay, so this was something intentional.
That was very intentional because we were at risk of losing our cruise ships to other flags.
Also, now the question also, in terms of ships, let's say you got a ship that goes into India.
Yeah.
Some of these countries that carry bacteria and germs and so forth inside their waterway.
Mm-hmm.
And now here it is, the ship takes on ballast, comes to the Bahamas on deballast. What are we doing about checking or taking samples of these ship ballast before they deballast in our water and pollute our water with germs or bacteria or whatever positives that they might pick up in their ballast tank?
Well, from an international perspective, they have the ballast water management scheme, whereby because of, like you say, these species, these small, tiny species that can be taken into your ballast and ballast water. And people need to understand what this ballast is all about, right? They ballast ships to help the ship be stable when they cross the ocean, the Atlantic, the Pacific, when they go through rough water, because if the tanks are not ballasted, it makes the ship more unstable. So ballast really puts it low in the water and makes it heavier, so it wouldn't rock as much and all the rest of that, right?
Or if the ship is empty, they use ballast to weigh it down in the water.
Yeah, well, that's because, again, they are even ships that are not bulk carriers can ballast and deballast, because it helps them to be more stable. But you're right. Like if they go away to offload cargo, and when the cargo, you see tankers, you can see a tanker very low in the water when it's full, but when it's empty, it's very, very high out of the water.
Yeah, so they use ballast to stay.
So they use ballast to bring it down a bit. They can't bring it all the way down because ballast could never replace cargo. It's ballast tanks are just around the like how you have the double hulls. The ballast tanks would be between the hulls.
Yeah.
So only so much the ballast could do, right? So you're right. When they are and there are regulations to govern ballasting and deballasting, but again, some ships may break the rules. They may not pay attention to it. Because they're supposed to deballast when they're a certain amount of hundreds of miles away from another area, so that and take on fresh ballast long before they reach that area when they get across their crossing.
Well, as you can hear, I'm in the maritime industry, just by the questions I'm asking.
Loud and clear. I don't know who I'm speaking with, but you're quite informed, my friend.
Yeah, I could quite assure you that doesn't happen.
What doesn't? Oh, well, I mean, in some cases, I'm sure it does, but like everything else, they don't go by the rules all the time, because we even have at cruise ships, that have been cited for, putting oil in the water. So we know that don't happen all the time.
Yeah, so that's why I could say that particular thing that don't happen. We still have ships that comes right into our ports, near our shoreline, and the ballast.
So tell me what you suggest could be done about that.
Well, what I would suggest the Maritime Department have inspectors go there and take samples of these ships, because these ships have to clear when they come in.
Well, I used to be a port state inspector, right? And part of my inspection would be to check their certification, to check all of their previous inspection records to see if they are a ship that have been cited for something like that before. But most of these ships that pass through our waters don't stop, so I cannot even go on board. So I'm saying to you that we are at the mercy of most of these ships, because we don't even have the opportunity to go on board and check them.
Well, I'm speaking specifically about the ones that come into port.
Yeah, but the amount of ships that pass through the Bahamas are about 20 to 30 times the ones that stop in the Bahamas.
Yes, I understand. But let's keep in mind now, the one that pass through, they're not the ballast and passing through.
But most of the bulk carriers don't stop here.
Yeah.
They're the ones that do more ballasting and deballasting than any other type ship. Cruise ships hardly ever taking ballast.
Load cargoes that has to the ballast, whether it's dry cargo or whether it's liquid cargo, that has to the ballast to load.
And I'm saying
to load, you have to the ballast.
And I'm saying the tankers and bulk carriers that pass through the Bahamas are much greater than those that actually stop in the Bahamas to do transactions. So I'm saying to you, while we may go on some that do stop in our ports, there are multiple more that we cannot even go on because they don't even stop, but they could be deballasting all the time.
Yeah, I got you. But again, at the same time, what's the chances of them to balance while they're passing through?
Very high.
You know for sure.
Very high.
When that comes here to load that cargo, that we know for sure the one that comes here to load product, we know they the ballast. Whether it's in the canals, let's say in the container port, in the canal way.
Yeah.
Whether it's at Buckeye, whether it's in the anchorage in the front of 8 Mile Rock, which is only about 2 miles off the shore of 8 Mile Rock.
Right.
Abaco terminus is only about a half a mile off the shore of Penless Point.
Yeah. Now, when you say,
just go straight up on the shoreline.
Yeah, but when you say they ballast and deballast in our water when they come to trade with us, right? You're talking about the ballast water, because you can't really see that water, the difference in the water that they deballast, you know.
That's the point exactly. That's what I'm talking about, because we don't know what they put in the water because you can't see it.
So you're saying that they do it, or you're just making that assumption?
I've been in the maritime industry for about 25 years.
Right.
I work in and out of Abaco, Statoil, Clifton Pearl. I work around these terminals for the last 25 years, so I see them do it.
Okay. So you actually see it happening.
I see them doing it.
Okay.
Because I do ballast inspections also.
Okay, so you do sampling and you sound like a draft surveyor.
Ballast inspection. But see, there's no regulation for ballast inspection. There's no regulation for ballast sampling and ballast testing. So we don't know what's in the ballast tanks. We don't know if it's clean ballast or dirty ballast.
Yeah, but they need to keep a record book for when they deballast and when they ballast. I'm sure it wouldn't be an oil record book, but I'm sure now that they have regulations for ballast water management, I'm sure they have a log that they got to keep for their ballast.
And now that brings me to my next question.
Well, I mean, only the port state inspector would be able to demand that. I mean, you as a sampler wouldn't be able to demand that.
My point. That's the next question I was going to ask.
Right.
Our inspection here in the Bahamas, in terms of the port department, is almost next to none.
Well, not the port department. It's the Maritime Authority that is responsible for port state inspection.
So that's even worse.
It's even worse, and I can tell you that we don't have that port state inspection regime. Is a laughable thing, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's even worse. See, at least with the port department, we see the port inspectors. When they're doing ship to ship off port, the port inspectors make sure these ships they stay within our guidelines, with our requirements, within our distance from our coastline. The port inspectors they make sure that happens.
The port department inspectors. The port department inspectors do that.
The port department, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
But the maritime inspectors, you only see them when the ship come to inspection, for registry inspection or some of that sort.
Well, they only get one, you know. I think they have a second one under training now, or has just joined. They only got 2 port state inspectors for this whole country. I mean, I tell you, it's laughable. And when I was I was the first Bahamian port state inspector. And when I assumed that role, I lobbied for years that we need a regime of at least 10 inspectors. And I still have all the recommendations that I wrote. But you know why they didn't want to do it? Because they didn't want to pay 10 inspectors. Now, my thing is, you got the entire defense force that you could have people readily trained to be in and out of that port state inspection regime. Right here in Nassau and Freeport and everywhere else. But for some reason, they don't even want to consider doing that.
Let me draw something to your attention and to the country attention, or for the radio listeners.
Yes, sir.
You know, our natural resource, in particular the aragonite, is a big thing in the air now, right? People talking about it.
Well, there ain't much people talking about aragonite the way they were, because you know, my thing about aragonite is you had Ocean Key that mined aragonite for decades, and they was quick to close shop because I don't think they was making too much profit from it.
But you know, I mean, Peter has it me, but you know, it's in the air now, and in particular in Grand Mama, they exporting cold stone. But Peter has it me.
Yeah.
Suppose I tell you, there is not one government agency that you can go to and they could give you a definite answer of how much of our natural resources is export on a yearly basis.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't think one would be able to do that at all. They rely on the information they get from the persons engaged.
And
yeah.
That's what. If the government is collecting so much money per ton, if I pay you to move 10 tons and I'm not watching you, how much tons you can move?
Well, you could move them, but you know, aragonite. Well, I had.
I just use aragonite as an example.
I had a gentleman by the name of Chris Culmer on my show, right? Chris worked. He was the manager or the middle manager at Bahama Rock for many years, and he said that they don't focus on aragonite at all. What they move in really is limestone.
Yeah, I know. They all that crop with the aragonite and Bahama rock, that's garbage.
Right.
Anyone with any idea of what's going on, you know, they move maybe about 7,000 to 8,000 tons of aragonite out of Grand Bahama every other month.
Yeah, and they don't focus on selling aragonite. Yeah, they don't trade aragonite. They trade limestone.
Right, that stuff that comes out of Bahama rock. That's limestone, and that's limestone, P-rock, and sand.
Correct.
But at the same time, the government can't tell you how much they move.
No, I'm not sure that. Well, I agree with you. And not only the government can't tell you how much they move with those things. Most government departments can't tell you what's going on with most things.
Yeah.
You know, I worked with government for many years, and I can tell there's a lot of slackness going on. And you got things on the books, and they don't pay no attention to it.
Even in terms of petroleum, government get paid per barrel.
Yep. They
government have anyone to look after their interests on the importation of petroleum products.
Well, I mean,
they accept what is produced to them by these foreign companies.
Exactly. That's what they do. Yeah. I agree with you 1,000 times.
So, I mean, what kind of country are we running?
How slack country? Our country is very slack.
About our maritime industry.
Boy, not only the maritime industry.
Our maritime industry is pretty much controlled by foreigners.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
When we have qualified, certified, trained, experienced Bahamians who can do the job. Let me add, who are home sitting now unemployed while they are foreigners doing the job.
Well, the maritime field, the port department don't have any foreigners in there, but the BMA has about 10% foreigners in the BMA. 90% are Bahamian, right? But the technical area is like 80% foreign. But I want you to know that the BMA has more Bahamians, far more Bahamians than foreigners. I mean, it has always been that way. But the technical area where Bahamians really could learn and be exposed and become surveyors and inspectors and all the rest of that, there's no real push to get Bahamians in and out of there because they don't want Bahamians to take that over and all the rest of that. For whatever reason, I don't know. But, even when I was and that's how I learned what I learned, by being a part of that technical department. But we had people like Theo Devaney, who basically is a surveyor today. He worked in that section. So we have Dwayne Hutchinson, who's now in charge of the BMA. He worked in that section. So everybody who has worked in that section have gotten out of there and excelled real well. But the Bahamas, while the Bahamas Maritime Authority Act has obligated the BMA to create and expand opportunities for Bahamian in the maritime sector, they do not touch that at all.
Nope, that's only for pretty. That's only
on the books.
When it's convenient.
That's only on the books. And the sad thing about it is, of late, the persons running the Maritime Authority were Bahamians.
Yep.
And they're still not doing it.
And came out the industry.
And came through that industry. And it's still not being done. And I'm preaching it every day. I hope someday somebody put pressure on them to make sure it's done.
Well, I honestly believe that if government was to take a serious look at these work permits that they issue in the maritime industry, a lot of Bahamians would be employed, and a lot of Bahamians would have high-paying technical skill jobs.
But they're not issuing permits. They don't issue permits in the maritime industry to foreigners. Not that I am aware of.
I'm telling you they do.
You talking about for surveyors, or you talking about for people working in the BMA?
No, I'm not talking about government departments. I'm talking in the private sector. I'm talking about surveyors. I'm talking about management. I'm talking about I'm talking about the private sector of the patrol of the maritime industry.
Boy, I don't know. I've been through basically.
Want me to give you some names? Want me to give you some companies?
Well, we know Buckeye is one, right? I don't want you to.
And I wasn't even talking about Buckeye.
Well, okay, Bahama Rock is one. No, I'm feeling you. I'm probably thinking too much Nassau-ish. right?
Again, you're thinking too much government. I'm thinking.
No, I say Nassauish. I'm talking about Clifton Pier. That's not government.
Clifton Pier is only a spot. It's only a dot in the maritime industry in the Bahamas.
I agree.
The maritime industry, the hub, is really in Grand Bahama.
It's in Freeport Harbor, yeah. You're right. And those areas do have a lot of foreigners at the very top. At the very top, yeah.
There's a particular company in Grand Bahama. They laid off maybe about 20 to 25 staff, Bahamians, qualified Bahamians.
Yeah.
They keep one foreigner.
Yeah, but do you know that even some of our hotels, they had hotels owned by the government with foreigners running them? That's just a thing for us. We always, and it's hard, okay, caller, I don't know who you are, right? But it's hard if you or me or anybody else is going to set up an institution or an establishment in, say, St. Lucia, and it's all Bahamian, and we don't want a Bahamian running it, or we don't want somebody running it who we can say we don't want a St. Lucian running it. We don't mind them working there, but we want somebody who's going to report to us outside of the person from that country. That's common in the industry, right? We actually have a Bahamian running Buckeye in down there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I don't know, because I don't think they can find a Lucian and who they want to run that, for the simple reason that they don't want a Lucian running it, you know.
Well, I don't think it's just because they don't want a solution running it. They want someone who they can trust to look after their interests.
Well,
I understand that you have someone maybe in these key positions, your people.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing. Right.
When you talk about line staff, when you talk about lower or middle management, there's no need for that.
I agree.
Line staff, I would understand if you didn't have the technical people or the qualified or the skilled people. But your line staff, your middle management is showing. Let's take, for instance, again, let's go to Buckeye. Buckeye is a very, very technical terminal. Very technical.
Yep.
You can't come into the first day or even the first year and learn that place. You see what I'm saying? You got foreigners who've been here for years and still don't know the terminal. But at the same time, you got Bahamians who were sent home to replace these, sent home to keep these guys employed.
You think it's because they want to keep a commercial interest and keep a balance whereby the Bahamians wouldn't turn on them and cause them to not be able to perform or produce? I mean, I think that's probably a part of it, eh?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think it's that?
No, I don't think so.
So why would you think that would be the case?
Well, if you have an opportunity to work in on 4 or 5 inches of snow, or to work on sun beaches and sunshine weather, where you come in?
Well, I mean, you have an opportunity being the owners, or why would the owners hire a foreigner where he can use a Bahamian if it's not because he want to keep the Bahamians from taking over control fully? I mean, why would he pay for a foreigner to come down here? Because I don't think the owner wouldn't be concerned about that foreigner working in the sunshine as opposed to in the snow.
No, the owner might not be, but the people who want to put in place his upper management might be.
Right, but why would the owner prefer to have a foreigner there?
Because the owner going only based on what the upper management tell him.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they don't ever want to be replaced, so they always feel.
Management knows.
Yeah, they always feel the need to want to remain, so they always find reasons why Bahamians shouldn't have those jobs, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you, and you're absolutely right.
It was nice talking to you. I'll hang up and I'll continue to listen.
I appreciate the call, man. Continue to listen, and feel free to call at any time, because that's what we're all about.
All right, man. I hope your listening audience took something about what we discussed tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they do, man, because you brought some good points in, and I'm so happy that we could have had a discussion at that level.
All right, man.
Thank you, my friend. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was a wonderful call. I don't know, outside of my good friend Herbie Brain, I don't know if we've ever had a technical call like that, where we could have had good discussions on what's going on in the maritime field in the Bahamas, and things that really could be improved. And we driving that home all the time. And here it is. We have, I assume that's his first time calling the show, but he's called in, and okay, we got another call on the line. Boy, I wonder who this is. We can find it right now. Good evening, caller. You're on Maritime Matters. Thank you so much for calling.
Let's take a ride to the Red Sea.
Hey, back to the Red Sea. What's going on, my brother?
What you think is going on over there?
Well, do you think the Houthis is in their rights to do what they're doing?
Well, the Houthis is a terrorist gang. Just like all the rest of everybody who picks up a weapon and shoots it at another, and I mean the caliber that they have, trying to kill, destroy, maim, do anything. They're terrorists.
But I've never heard about these Houthis before now.
Well,
I heard about the Hamas and the Hezbollah, but this Houthi now, that's 3H. Everything is H.
Well, what it is, they just give Satan sectors and Satan people's names around the place, and Hezbollah, this, that, you know what I mean? They just give them names. They just terrorist organizations. What they want to do is stop the rest from doing what the rest has been doing to the big nation, to the big continent for a long time.
But you notice,
Africa is the place that has more natural resources than you can shake a stick at. And the rest, along with France, along with all the European countries, you know, they have been like taking everything, you know what I mean, naming Africans. And these guys have got together and they have formed a gang around the world to fight against imperialism, colonialism, and imperialism. Okay? So that's what's going on over there right now. That's what that war is all about. Now, the big guys who got the ships, the bulk carriers, like what you've been talking about, they got to go through a narrow pathway by which, well, Arabs, you know what I mean, a lot of them is on gangs and stuff like that, they do not want them to pass through there because it's a war going on. You know, it's a war going on with Israel and America trying to back them, along with Britain and all the rest of them other countries, simply because it's Africa that they want to deal with. They're trying to take things from Africa, and then we got these African leaders today, Burkina Faso and all the rest of them. They are stopping it because they are terminating all mining rights, like what they're doing down there in the Bahamas. They are terminating all these people's rights to Africa. Africa's supposed to be for Africa, like the Bahamas supposed to be for Bahamians. And I even want to see today, when we stop what's taking place in the Bahamas right here today, like the man says, you know what I mean? You let him call his name. I want to beat him too. You know what I mean? Yeah. We should stop all the stuff that's taking place in the Bahamas here today, like the mining and stuff, because we don't know what's going on. We need to put people there so we can know the value of what we're losing. We don't know the value because we don't have inspectors, like y'all say. You know what I mean? And guess what? We used to train up. You're supposed to have a school where you could, like, produce these guys and let them go there and work on your behalf, man.
Yeah.
You know, Tim? Go ahead, man.
Well, my brother, well, you know, the terrorist group, as they're being called right now, that those attacks on those ships are stemming out of, like you say, the war that is going on between Israel and the Palestinians, and they are frustrated that ships are going into Israel to carry supplies left, right, and center, but no ships are being allowed to go into Gaza. And because of that, they say, well, if no ships can go to Gaza, ain't no ships passing us because we can shoot at all. And they seem to be very successful in causing ships, because all the MERS ships and the MSC ships and the cruise, all of them have desist from using the Suez Canal. They're all now going all the way around the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa and come back up and losing 2 to 3 weeks time-wise and delaying world movement and all the rest of that. All because of that war going on, or the fact that Israel is stopping the people of Gaza and the Palestinians from getting supplies.
All right, listen. Israel, you know, Israel, America, Britain, France, all of them is a terrorist organization. The same way that people are terrorist organizations.
I don't know.
Because all of them got ammunition, willing to kill and the main people. You know what I mean? They'll drop a bomb and they'll kill everything around. You know what I mean? They got ammunition right now. If they drop it, Guess what happened? I mean, they can leave a place like barren for years. They all them is the same set of people, bro. What I mean? All them Caucasian people is the same set of people. I mean, fighting against the Arabs, bro.
But you know, they're saying that they're not going to stop what they're doing as long as Israel is keeping the pressure on the Gaza Strip, eh?
Well, I can tell you one thing. They can keep the pressure there. But then, you know, let's pressure boys play. They ain't home. America ain't home. Okay? Britain ain't home. France ain't home. All them people are in that land. You know what I mean? It's a part of Abraham. You got the Arabs, you got the Muslims, you got the Jews. All them in that area right there, that's where they're supposed to be together.
But
you know what I mean? But then you got outsiders who want to come inside and bring their, you know what I mean? Like Columbus bringing disease and bringing all this and bringing all that to the people who want it. Those people, you know what I mean? You don't see women and thing over there carrying on like our people carry on in the West, in France and Britain and they covered up. You know what I mean? They got like a strict society. You know what I mean? And they don't want no outsiders to come inside there with their flamboyant ways and things like that. You know, it's a thing that we really got to look at, bro, as people.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are we going to do with our shanty town up in Abaco, man? Are we going to take that down in 28 days as been reported?
Well, I can tell you something. There's something going on. They took down 10. I seen the structure that was up, and I see them put like a paper on it, say this one got to come down too. And then they build them on the blocks on the poles, you know, the poles that the hurricane destroyed. Then they got them in the ground, and the people, the farmers are building on poles and stuff like that out the ground.
Yeah, but they say they give them 28 days notice, eh? According to the newspapers, they give them 28 days notice. They haven't taken any down yet. They give them 28 days notice, and after they give them the notice, some of them are saying that ain't enough notice and all the rest of that. But I don't think the ministry is listening to them, and I think that I'm looking for, after that 28 days, buildings to start coming down.
Well, I'll tell you something, between you and me, what needs to be done 10, 15, 20, 40 years ago, it ain't too late to start it now. You know what I mean? At least we got to start to seeing something that is different. You know what I mean? We need something different. You know what I mean? Even though, right, crime and violence has been going on from time begun. In the neighborhood, David, all the rest of the things, we'll never be able to stop this war that's going on. The more we become civilized and more civilized, you know, violence is a part of it. You know what I mean? It's hard to say it. You know what I mean? We'll never be able to stop violence, bro. You know what I mean? Because anytime a man thinks that he owns something in this world, he's going to fight to try and keep it. Ain't no one own nothing in this world. Everything is rented out. You know what I mean? You buy a house, you're going to use it till you die. You get married, you're going to be married until one of y'all die. You know what I mean? If you buy anything, you know what I mean? You only pay rent for it. Everything goes back to the earth. When you eat food, that food will belong to you because you got to excrete it back to the earth, and the earth is going to take everything back. You know what I mean? We only live in here for a period of time. That's the only reason why you need to be good while we live in here. What do you say?
Absolutely, but you know, you've always had over the historical years, dynasties and entities and countries, whenever they got the power by way of ammunition and wealth, they just go out to conquer the world. Eh? If you think about the dynasty of the Greeks, the dynasty of the Italians, you got the French, everybody had the British, everybody had their time to conquer the world, eh?
Yes, sir.
Now the world is being conquered by the U.S. because they're stronger than any other. If you get all the rest of the countries in the world put together, they wouldn't be able to beat the U.S. right now.
Well, guess what? You could say that, but you'd be surprised to know who could do it. I
am saying to you because...
You know why?
Why?
That's right. Do you realize that the United States is not a country? The United States is a corporation.
Well, I call countries
Okay,
based
a
on.
cooperation. 1913, their constitution was sold by Woodrow Wilson, the prime minister. Now, the money, right? That's supposed to be money. Ain't nothing but I forgot the name of it, but it's paper. So what you think is worth more than that money? The things that is in Africa, which is the natural resources, it's worth far more money than $100 bill. I mean, $100 bill, which is paper. And that is the reason why they have been going around the world assassinating our leaders like Gaddafi, like all Saddam, like all the rest of them, because they had natural resources. And they were trying to put things in place where if you come to us to buy anything, you must bring gold. And they ain't got it, or other natural resources. So America's already defeated. She's only standing there right now for the time being. But eventually, you will see what's going to take place. It may not happen in our time, but that was going to happen. I mean, if you ain't got no natural resources to pay for your things, guess what happened? You ain't nothing. You're already defeated.
My brother, like I told you, everybody had their time, and the world ain't gonna stand still on no one country, eh? So
no, sir.
While
you know what it is? You know what it is? You got the United States of America with all them states. But then in Africa, what you got? You got countries, you know what I mean, all one continent. All they need to do is come together as one, and we signed treaties as Bahamians the other day with certain parts of Africa, and the world like that. You know what happened the other day? Guess what happened? We got all kind of warnings. Oh, we got crime going on. And the man, you shouldn't come here for crime. You know what I mean? The crime crisis in the Bahamas. Be careful how you come to the Bahamas. Until the British High Commissioner said that it ain't no problem in the Bahamas. Crime ain't no problem in the Bahamas.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
I think all countries,
America,
all cities,
like Brian Ross and all the rest of them came back to life. And I mean, how many news stations in America reported on the Bahamas the other day? They need to behave themselves. They are jealous because we're getting ready to break the record open, and we are putting their money in our coffers.
Well, the U.S. didn't say anything that our own people ain't saying, eh? We have our own people saying we have a crime problem.
We got one clown in the Bahamas. They're always ready to jump on the bandwagon and don't know how to speak to people. That's the leader of the opposition. He don't even know how to communicate with people.
No, but
I mean, all like that.
I mean,
every time it's something about the Bahamas, he want to get out and protest his way, this way and that way. You know what I mean? Hogwash. You know what I mean? In the time of crisis, we're supposed to come together. But he like what he see going on here in the Bahamas. Even though it's gonna be hard to stop crime. You know what I mean? Crime can stay going on, man. Anybody can be able to stop crime. The only thing we can do is put a band-aid on it.
My brother, crime is worldwide, right?
Okay.
We know that we've been having some challenges, and all countries are having challenges every now and then when it comes to crime, right? And I ain't trying to talk too much about crime and all the rest of that. Let's stick to maritime related issues like shanty towns.
Okay, well, listen to this carefully. If you build it and you ain't got the papers to build it, the man say, you ain't come to play. You know what I mean? You can be just like the rest of everybody else. You gotta be like the birds in the trees. You gotta build your house. You know what I mean? You gotta do it the right way.
I agree 1,000 times. And that's basically what's going on, eh?
If you listen, I want you to let that man say who the company is, what the company is that got these people there. You know what I mean? They ain't operating the right way. You know what I mean? But you won't let him talk, man. You know what I mean? You're supposed to let him say what he's saying.
What, I let him talk?
You ain't let him say what he can say. You know what I mean? They wanted to know who this company was.
No, he wasn't about to call anybody's name. He's just bringing attention. He's a pretty informed individual.
I know that. You know what I mean? That man is well informed. I respect his contribution.
Very informed.
You know what I mean? Because I like Maritime Matters too, you know. I like Maritime Matters too. I go to this driving boat from Roma to the States and all kind of places like that, carrying salvage and towing boats and thing. And you know what I mean? I like the high seas, man. You know what I mean? I love the high seas. But you know, sometimes when you go down and 8 Mile Rock, you see about 10 and 12. 14 boats got they anchor inside the shoals, man. You know what I mean? Breaking up all the things inside the show. You know what I mean? Especially when they got bad weather. You know what I mean? They need inspectors in the harbor anyhow, right away.
So when are we going to fix those areas where they could use a anchor mooring as opposed to putting their anchor in the seabed?
Well, I just see the big anchors inside the water. Man, look at them big old anchors. You know what I mean? I know they say a crawfish hole, because I hear fellas say he used to go to a crawfish hole out there. And the man say right now the anchor break up everything.
So when are we going to make sure that they have moorings in place that are properly designed so that when the ship comes, it ties onto the mooring and it doesn't drop a big anchor anywhere?
When they get rid of the Port Authority.
But this the whole Bahamas, not only Grand Bahama. Eh?
Well, I know where I can see it. On the biggest ships that do that is in Grand Bahama.
Yeah, but they got a lot of tankers that anchor off Great Isaacs doing the same thing.
But they come into Grand Bahama. Most of them will be floating around.
Yeah, they go into Grand Bahama, but they drop anchor away from. They drop it by Great Isaacs. That ain't Grand Bahama.
Well, that's the worst place, because that's a fishing ground.
Yeah, but when are we going to supply moorings so that they wouldn't have an option to drop anchor? Because I mean, you can't tell a ship
we need to revamp our port departments and put people inside there, put them to work, because maritime is one of the biggest things that happened in the Bahamas, is happening right now, and we need to put some things in place. We need really to put some things in place, like the man says. We need inspectors, we need more workers, you know what I mean? We need people to pay attention.
Absolutely.
And guess what? We got all this natural resources to deal with all these things. We could take care of these kind of things. You know what I mean? We could trade off some of our natural resources to get some of that paper money, you know what I mean, to pay off people with.
Right. Now, anyway, we got another call on the line, but as always, I thank you for that big time contribution. You know,
look at man, big time, man. That's the way life is, you know. That's the way I live.
Yeah, well, you take care up there, up in 8 Mile Rock, doing your thing, my brother. And
okay.
We'll keep it together down here. So thanks for calling as always, and take good care.
All right, then.
Yeah. Calling you on Maritime Matters. Hello. I guess we lost that caller. Caller, please feel free to call back. We got about 8 minutes left, and we want to hear what you have to say. So feel free to call back at any time, and we would be right in on your call. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have basically had little discussions on Shanty Town. We haven't talked much about the Defense Force. We talk a lot about the Red Sea dilemma. We even talk about the Black Sea dilemma. We haven't spoken much about alternative fuel sources, wind farms, solar farms, Tata Steel, the 28,000 jobs that are lost. And this, again, we talk lightly about it. And we don't want to go into too much details because it's a technical thing. But really, all it is the big shift that the world is about to encounter. Because while we'll have a show on COP28, probably next show coming up or one after that, how COP28 is changing the world. We can understand that by 2040, which is just 16 years from now, the entire world would be restricted from emitting fossil fuel burn-off. In other words, that carbon, because we know that the carbon is really wreaking havoc on our climate right now, and that's why I keep hearing a lot about global warming and climate challenges and climate change and all the rest of that stuff, because the earth is just too hot now, and the carbon is trapping the heat from getting out. And so when we have things like hurricanes, they come in bigger force than they would normally come, because hurricane feed off heat. And if you got all this heat in the hurricane, it's gonna make it stronger and much. And that's what Dorian was. Dorian was a superstorm that, in my lifetime, 60 plus years, we've never had one like that in this entire hemisphere. But I don't know if we ever had one worse than that in the world. But Dorian was a number, and we could see more Dorians if we don't get a grip on this thing ASAP. So we got a call on the line. ASAP. So we got another caller, and I hope that's the caller that was trying to reach me earlier. Caller, you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Hey, sorry, Cap. I'm sorry for calling back again.
Yo, man,
I
go
hear you
ahead.
talking about energy matters, right?
Yeah.
I really wish the Bahamas government would take a page out of Aruba playbook. Aruba carry the same engines as we do at DPL, the Wasilla engines. The engines is not the problem. It's the maintenance of the engine is the problem. But be that as it may, the whole backside of Aruba, you could see the turbine plants, what do you call it, the wind farm?
Wind farm, yeah.
The
windmill farm, yeah.
You could see them before you see Aruba.
Yeah, it's the same thing in I was thinking...
And St. Eustatius also, but St. Eustatius doesn't have the windmill. St. Eustatius has a huge solar plant. But Aruba hardly use their fossil fuel generation. They use solar and they use windmill. So maybe the Bahamas government needs to take a look at Aruba power station and maybe implement it island by island by island by island by island.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That setup they got, that's really impressive. And it is doable.
Well, it's happening all over now because even in New York, between New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, they're getting ready to install windmill farms, one given 700 megawatts, another one 2,500 megawatts. I mean, the Bahamas, we only need, 200 is it 170 megawatts to keep us going? No, that's 270, correction.
But yes, I believe that will never happen. They will never take us off fossil fuel.
Oh, they have to. They ain't got no choice.
Well, I don't think we'll see it because, number one, the players that's involved in the fossil fuel business, and then number two, the revenue that BC generates. If you were to take that revenue from the Bahamas government would be in plenty of problems.
My brother, it's going to happen because they ain't got no choice. Now, if they had a choice, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, well,
but COP28 already demanded that no country in the world, nowhere in the world would be allowed to emit fossil fuel burn off. No carbon could go in there no more. And you see with all electric cars coming on stream, and a lot of them are just sitting and waiting for this decision,
Yes, why I don't see the Bahamas doing that. Or if we do it, we'll probably be the last one to do it.
Yeah.
What steps are we doing to make that direction? What infrastructures are we putting in place? Even if we take some of the most unpopular islands and start converting them into the alternative energy. Let's start from the smaller ones and work our way up to the major islands.
Well, that's probably, but they already pledged from 2022 that they're going to install 100 megawatt solar farm for BPL.
But again, what infrastructure, what plant? Again, government said they can do plenty of things.
No, this is what they pledged, and this is in the papers and everything. And they're doing this because
in the papers, they had big groundbreaking for the hospital and grandmama. We ain't get it yet. 15 the first time. 7 days to see in the paper and on the TV. I don't mean they can do it.
You ain't get no kickback from me on that, right?
Again, what infrastructure?
I have to maintain little hope, though.
Well, I with you.
I have to maintain a little hope.
I listen to what people say. I watch what they do.
You're right.
What are they doing?
Boy,
to make that goal a reality. Even if we start from the smallest island, the most unpopulated islands in the Bahamas, you can start by putting them on wind farm or solar energy. Start small and work your way up. By the time we get to the major islands, you'll be ready to respect that, and you already have your course down to a science.
I agree, and I'm saying to you that based on what the United Nations is putting out there, we wouldn't have much option but to engage solar and wind farms. We really ain't have much option. Mind you, we can run, but we can't hide. That's what I'm trying to say. You cannot hide.
We'll probably be the last country to do it. Based on what we see, every country that's talking about it or aspiring onto it, they're putting infrastructure in place.
You're right.
Stations is almost completed.
And like everything else,
they're almost done.
Like everything else, the third world countries always lag behind. So I'm with you on that.
No, not the third world countries. The
Bahamas. Boy, you're easy. I thought I was hard on them, but
like I said, I'm a travel man.
Yes.
I've been to many power plants around the world.
Yes, sir.
And we far behind. We far behind.
Yeah,
we still back in the 50s and the 60s compared to the rest of the world.
I am having a discussion on power plants, solar energy sources, wind farms, and alternative fuel vessels are now using ships. Next show, we're going to go, I don't want to go too deep because I don't want the show to be too technical, right? But we're going to have to touch those things, man. So I want you to stay listening, and I really want your contribution because obviously you got a lot of knowledge and you're well exposed. So let's keep it going. So thanks for calling, man, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, man, most definitely.
Yes, sir. Calling you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Captain Bain. This is Captain Brain.
Boy, your time going flat out. What you saying? What happened to you tonight? I tried calling you. You wouldn't answer your phone. What happened to you?
No, I had a technical glitch.
All right, well, anyway, let's go fast because
now.
you know it's 2100. So what you saying, man?
I just had to call and chime in on the whole solar issue, renewable energy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to go we don't have to go nowhere. We have people right in the Exuma. We got keys in the Exuma chain right now that is operated 100%. Everything is solar power.
Yeah,
right?
well, that's true. You remember when we took the train from Malmo to where was that we went?
So that's Copenhagen.
Yeah, and we saw that wind farm, and that was about 5 or 6 years ago. Eh?
Man, look at that was several years ago, right? But the wind farms are something that we can do. It's just a matter. I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning with the caller who called earlier. I don't want to be a pessimist, but I don't believe no United Nations convention
mandate. It's a mandate. It's a mandate that was mandate. It was passed. It was passed unanimously by every single country.
And even if we move quicker, we're gonna build the solar farm or the wind farm, and we're not gonna maintain the turbines. I'm telling you, that's what we do. We're gonna build it to say, we are in line with what the world wants and what the United Nations has agreed, what the country has agreed to, but we're not going to maintain it. And so I kind of agree with the caller who called earlier. We have a lot of soul searching to do within our own government, with our own society. We have to change the way we do business because I did the cargo survey. I was responsible for when those Watzel engines were offloaded from the ship.
You got to wrap it up. I got another caller. Plus, I am over the line.
But it's sad the way how we have allowed that huge investment to just. I mean, I would say go down the toilet. And so I just don't think that we ready as yet to move from anything, move away from fossil fuel, really in earnest. And I don't think we are totally committed as a country to get this thing done because we're
gonna do it the way we've been doing it forever. We not maintaining things properly and all the rest of it, but at least we will be off fossil fuel and not maintaining the wind, like you say, the windmills. We don't have the right amount of the proper maintenance plan for it, or the solar. They go in and we're not replacing them entirely. But at least we will have those things in place, eh?
Well, having those things they're not really.
No, they will be giving us. It's just like how it is now. We got the engines in place, the machinery in place, but we're not maintaining them properly, so we're having problems.
Get the next call.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to make that contribution. We got to get serious, and until we do, nothing gonna change.
Yes, sir. The next caller probably just call and say good night. All right, thank you, buddy. Calling on Maritime, boy, I'm so sorry. I see the phone blinking and everything blinking one time. I got 1 minute left, sir.
Good morning, you still take Captain Brain.
Hey, my lady, how are you?
I'm well. I wanted to just comment that the government launched a bid for the 100 megawatt
solar farm. Yeah, I was telling them that. I noticed that. I mean, I don't know what's going on with it in detail, but I know it's an initiation to get that done.
Yeah, and I didn't get you to be biased, but fall ships began in 2001, which was way many years, 8 years before the previous Commodore arrived there.
Yes, I did say that. I did say he was part of it. He didn't initiate. He didn't initiate it.
Initiated and saw this through to the end, but this was something that began many years before he arrived there.
Yes, he didn't initiate it, but he saw it through. I mean, he didn't throw it aside. So I think he did well.
Agreed to it, but not saw it through.
Okay. I got you. I still giving him little kudos because I think
that's a bias with BDF.
You think I buy? Well, anyway, next week we can talk a little more about BDF because we still haven't really flushed that through as yet. Thank you for why you wait so long. I don't know wrong with you. All you wait for the show to open the call.
You didn't answer me.
But you call after the show finish.
I was holding on all this time.
Oh, that was you. Oh, I apologize. I jeopardize. But next week I can please call. I can call you before the show starts, so you can call early.
Okay, bye.
Okay, darling. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know the time. That's it. The show gone. I thank my producer, Mr. Craig Gibson, who have kept the show going, and well, of course, he's the best producer in the world. We know that. I got my sponsors, BMC Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. We have 101 Pharmacy, and also in Freeport they have Island Care Pharmacy, and then we have the Bimini Pilots and the GBI Pilots, and that is it, except Annie Mae. Thank you very much for keeping me on even keel, and Annie Mae is gonna tell me what time it is tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, as always, I say to you, Maritime Matters out.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting